What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here from DataDash, and I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are, because in today's video, I want to spend some time to talk about what may very well be the most powerful form of analysis you can do when it comes to analyzing cryptocurrencies. And no, I'm not talking about technical analysis or fundamental analysis. Today, we're talking about the little-known topic of on-chain analysis. Now, you've possibly heard a lot of people talk about on-chain analysis at a surface level, but so many people don't know how to actually utilize on-chain analysis in a visual and impactful way in order to become a more profitable investor or trader in crypto markets. And while nothing is absolutely guaranteed, this method is one that I believe every trader and investor should have in their arsenal. So in today's video, I'm going to be spending some time to talk about what on-chain analysis really is, how to actually do and conduct on-chain analysis, and what types of information we can get in order to become a smarter trader or investor in crypto markets. So let's go ahead and start off here with the basics. I want to spend some time to really unpack the topic of what is on-chain analysis, because in order to properly understand what on-chain analysis really is and understand why it's valuable, we need to understand the traditional forms of analysis that are accessible to us both in traditional assets and in crypto as well, ones that we're likely familiar with. Things, for example, like asset fundamentals, otherwise known as fundamental analysis. This can include things, for example, like balance sheet data of a given company or a treasury for DAO. It could be the executive team. It could be things, for example, like stock to flow, which we even see for crypto assets like Bitcoin, and beyond that as well, certain types of interesting activity going on within those assets particularly. And outside of that as well, we also have technical or price analysis of a given asset or pricing data. This can allow us to, for example, find certain types of candle patterns, find certain particular ranges of support and resistance where we find people accumulating or distributing, and we can also find all types of different trends using various different types of indicators and various other forms of quote-unquote technical analysis. These are the two forms you are probably familiar with and already use in your trading strategies. However, there is a third component, and it is one in which is not found in other traditional markets, because while this data does exist in other markets, what we would generally call transaction data is generally only accessible to those who are higher ups within the world of finance, companies or hedge funds like Citadel that basically order this information and utilize it to their advantage in their trading strategies, understanding actual flows of funds from retail traders and institutions, as well as being able to track who holds what and, generally speaking, what activities they're engaging in. However, while this information is usually privy to large players like Citadel Securities and traditional equities, in the case of crypto, this information becomes democratized. It's only a question of whether or not we know how to use it. With on-chain analysis, we can start to get an understanding of who holds what. We can understand the entire position holdings of a wallet address. We can know when those funds came in, when they went out, if they were bought or sold from that address, and we can understand who the top holders are given crypto assets, as well as dozens of other key data points that give us insights beyond just doing price analysis or fundamental analysis. Because once we understand these data points, we can start to understand what players in the market have weight on price. If one entity out there who's a large stakeholder sends funds to an exchange address, that could very well be a sign that a potential sale is coming. And if we see prior transactions in the past that have showcased a correlation both in our price analysis but these on-chain activities, then we can start to realize that this large holder, when they send funds to an exchange, it might be a sign to sell. And vice versa, when funds come from an exchange wallet into the address that we're tracking, we can start to get a good feeling that perhaps they're accumulating and building a long-term position, betting on future upside in price. This is a prime example here of on-chain analysis. But today, I do want to spend some time not only to showcase how you can start doing this, but also describe a whole range of ways we can utilize on-chain analysis for our own benefit. Now in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing a platform called Arkham Intelligence. They sponsored today's video, but I want to make it very clear to you guys that Arkham Intelligence is not only one of the most powerful platforms when it comes to on-chain analysis. There are a couple other opportunities or platforms you can use out there, but for me personally, I decided to work with Arkham because they have not only the best offering, but it's entirely free to use. That's right, there's no subscription fees, no entry costs, you just got to sign up for an account, and you can start not only analyzing your on-chain activity, but the on-chain activity of other players in the space, getting deeper insights into where things are in the market when it comes to on-chain activity. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the Arkham Intelligence platform. As we see right out here out the gate on the homepage, there's a lot of information available to us. We can not only see recent transactions across a dozen plus ecosystems in the crypto space, from Ethereum to Arbitrum to Polygon to Binance Smart Chain, Tron, Bitcoin, Ethereum, you name it, all types of different networks and all types of different transactions. But beyond that as well, we can also see trending token pages as well as top entities in the space. This can include, but is not limited to, exchanges, DAOs, DeFi applications. On top of that as well, market makers and hedge funds, and yes, even the US government. If you want to look up the holdings of the US government, you can do so on Arkham Intelligence, seeing all the different types of cryptocurrency assets that they currently hold from various seizures and activities in the past. So we can get lots of really valuable information here on different types of players and across their holdings on various different chains. This is the first point that I want to bring about here when it comes to using a platform like Arkham Intelligence. If we want to conduct proper on-chain analysis, we do not want to have to go through the nightmare of using traditional legacy explorers like Etherscan or Binance Scan, essentially having to go and nitpick information from all the other different networks. In this case, we can just see in the US government, they hold BTC, Ethereum, they own AUSDC, wrapped ETH, all types of different assets here that are supposedly owned by the US government. In order to get a full picture, we need to use a platform like Arkham Intelligence to do so. And we can get information, as I mentioned, on practically anyone, even Arkham Intelligence as a platform. Along with that as well, we can track leading DeFi protocols like Uniswap, which is the largest automated market maker in the crypto space. And if we want to try to get as relevant of information as possible, we can cut down our time frame here on the balance history of the Uniswap protocol, and our transactions will adapt as well, tracking Uniswap transactions across a whole range of different networks. And from here, maybe we could, for example, go towards outflows, and we can measure in USD terms to get the largest transactions. And from here, we can start to see some of the big transactional moves out. We can see a lot of wrapped Ethereum moving out of Uniswap pools over the past few days, getting a lot of information here on both outflows as well as inflows. So this can be a really valuable tool here if you're doing on-chain analysis and trying to predict the potential price movement of not just Ethereum, but also some various ERC20 tokens and different types of altcoins that you might be watching in the market. We can also see here as well, even people, whether you like them or not, people like Donald Trump, who, for example, did a major NFT raise back a few months ago for his campaign. As you can see, the increase in the balance over time and the recent outflows that he's had here, moving his Ethereum to exchange addresses on Coinbase. Now, again, they're all different types of personalities here, different types of entities, or people that you essentially can track on-chain. How you utilize this information, well, you can get as creative as you want. If you believe that there's a large player, for example, like Jump Trading, which is one of the largest market makers and funds within the space, it's important to see what they're doing in their portfolio. We can see that their balance has not only grown probably in dollar terms over the past few weeks, but generally speaking, over the last 3 months, they made much larger inflows than they did outflows. You can see that while they've had some larger transactions outside of their wallet, they are generally bringing more in, whether it be Bitcoin holdings or, in this case, USDC or stablecoins on its provider circle to generate dollars essentially over to stablecoins. So there's all types of really powerful stuff we can utilize just by simply searching on Arkham Intelligence and following various entities. You can even also utilize Arkham Intelligence to track individual traders who have doxed themselves by allowing people to track their 0x address, or by simply Arkham Intelligence and its data providers figuring out who these traders are and what wallet addresses they utilize on chain. That way, being able to essentially maybe copy trade or follow those who have been successful in the past at generating profits and swapping from one token to another. So these are some of just the brief ways we can start to utilize just the search functionality and analyzing the entity pages for various different participants. And if you're like me and you appreciate the ability to simplify all this complex on-chain activity and to get essentially a bird's eye view of all the transactional inflows and outflows from a certain entity to various other wallet providers such as exchanges or other market makers, then you are going to love the visualization tool that Arkham offers for all entities. In the top right hand corner of any entity page, you can start to get a visualization here of what wallet addresses, in this case Jump Trading, has interacted with. We can not only are tracking the 6 major addresses of Jump Trading and who they've interacted with, but on top of that, we get a basket of addresses here that we know are tied to various exchanges like Binance, providers like Circle, OKX, Coinbase, Bybit, as well as Bitso and KuCoin. We are tracking hundreds of addresses here in this visualization. What would originally be almost entirely impossible to do on our own, Arkham has made incredibly clear and concise. And we can easily click on the icon in the top left to understand the transactional relations between all these different addresses with proper labeling and timestamps, as well as mentioning the amount in those transactions. We can just also select specifically flow in transactions, those that have flown out, or more particularly between key owned addresses between jumps. So essentially moving from one wallet address to another. And this can be impactful if we're tracking a wallet that is more for active trading or one that's more for long-term holding. So this is just, again, incredibly powerful stuff. And the fact that you can get this for free is just such a godsend when it comes to conducting analysis on crypto. If you can take the time to conduct proper on-chain analysis on some of these key players, you will start to spot varied trends. And when you add this type of analysis of on-chain data analysis alongside fundamental analysis, asset fundamentals, as well as price analysis or technical analysis, you can start to become one of the more powerful traders in the crypto space as you understand how the big players are moving funds, when they're moving capital into the crypto markets and building long-term positions, and when they are starting to distribute or sell positions. That gives you a lot of what you need to know about further trend direction and price. But beyond all of this as well, I think it's important that we also talk about one of the other major features that Arkham offers, and that is to create a custom dashboard on the Arkham Intelligence platform. Not only can we use Arkham to figure out who entities are and all of their addresses as well as their activity across a range of networks, but we can filter down even further, removing the noise that we don't need and focusing on the signal, the things we actually need to know about in order to improve our trading activities, custom tailored to our needs. By clicking the plus icon, we can select from a whole range of different units or widgets that allow us to pull information on particular entities or tokens that we might be tracking. So I'll give a couple examples here of what we can utilize. There are things tied towards particularly entities like list of transactions, balance, and along with that, the historical value of that balance over time, as well as portfolios. These give us information around particular individuals or hedge funds, market makers, exchanges, DeFi protocols, you name it. But beyond that, we can also track analytics around the token price history, and token exchange flows. So this allows us to get in towards not only a mixture of on-chain analysis, but also price performance analysis for a variety of different tokens. We can have that printed right into our dashboard so we don't have to go to the charts constantly. This to me is, again, how powerful things can get. And this is just scratching the surface. You can set alerts and you can set text boxes to understand why you're tracking what you're tracking, so people can also understand from your dashboard why you track these metrics. There's all kinds of stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead real quick, build out a custom dashboard, showcase how we can use it in practice, and then I'll explain it here in just a moment. So let me go ahead and dive into that. Alrighty, so after just a couple of minutes, I was able to create a custom tailored dashboard focused on a particular topic of interest for myself, and that is Ethereum Flows. So I created the ETH Flows dashboard, which is focused on trying to track not only exchange flow, but also generally speaking when there's accumulation or distribution, when we're seeing some of the larger account holders either accumulating more ETH or starting to unlock or unload some of their positions. So we not only have pricing information here on the right hand side, getting a nice long-term chart of Ethereum. We can dive into shorter term timeframes as well to see any changes in the near term. But what I'm noticing here in some of the price analysis is that for the last month, Ethereum has been kind of pushing sideways here. I've seen that since early December. So for over a month, Ethereum's price has been relatively neutral between 2.2 and 2.4K. When I take a look at the exchange flows over the last 30 days, I'm noticing a more neutral trend here. We're having some great green days, but also days as well in the red that in many cases are outpacing some of those green inflows when you compare it on a total nominal basis. If I take a look over the last year, obviously Ethereum has been not only on an uptrend in price, but along with that as well, its exchange flows have been on a major decline. That being said, since back here in October, that trend has started to flatline here. So I want to dive a bit deeper here as well into the analytics and try to understand if we're seeing some early stage signs of distribution. Well, what I did here is I set up a custom list of key addresses like the Ethereum Foundation, the ETH2 Beacon deposit contract, where a lot of the staked ETH is for proof of stake on the network, the main consensus mechanism, Vitalik Buterin, who's the founder of Ethereum, and a whole range of other whale addresses that aren't tied directly to exchanges. And the reason I want to do this here is track some of the largest account holders, some of the biggest influential players in the space, and we could probably add more addresses to this if we put more time into it. But generally, we can already start to see transactions over the past recent few weeks from these key addresses. And what I noticed here is that back in the last 2 weeks, one of the large addresses has been essentially burning their Lido staked ETH and basically essentially getting thousands upon thousands of Ethereum into their wallet address, each of these being about $2.24 million worth of ETH at the time of recording. So we can see here that someone is withdrawing a large amount of their staked ETH from these wallet addresses. And it's coming at a time here again over the past few weeks when we've seen some sideways price action. This might be a telltale sign of distribution. The further you can curtail this data, the wider you can expand these analytics, but also make sure that you're not going to be putting in a lot of noise or unnecessary data points, and you can understand what that data is aimed at helping you with, you can start to get some very clear pictures about where price is likely heading in the future. This is again another great example of how we can use on-chain analytics in pairing with technical analysis and fundamental analysis. It's not that you have to follow one path or the other. I think it's one of many tools you can utilize in your arsenal. And if you guys haven't considered it yet, I definitely think it's something you should consider using as well, considering that tools like Arkham Intelligence are free to use and they're able to be customized to exactly your trading or investing style and for the information you're looking for. But beyond having your own custom dashboard, there are a ton of other powerful tools you can utilize within Arkham Intelligence when conducting on-chain analysis, and I just wanted to share a couple additional ones with you guys here into the close of the video. One of the big ones that a lot of people can end up missing is the top holders list. This allows you on the overwhelming majority of large cap cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, to see the top holders by wallet address or entity. We can not only see which addresses hold the largest amount of a given cryptocurrency by the actual amount and their dollar value, but along with that, we can group it by entity, filtering out a lot of the noise of addresses and getting down to really who owns what. We can see a lot of the Bitcoin is owned by Coinbase or Binance, or at least managed by these entities, as well as ETP product providers like Grayscale. And outside of that, we can see that there are entities like the US government and even particular exchanges like Mt. Gox that's been going through a long-awaited liquidation process with those who have been caught up in the bankruptcy process. So being able to track the supply movement from these entities can tell a really big story about what the supply adjustment is going to be for Bitcoin when it comes to what's available on the market versus demand. Outside of that as well, I think it's important that you guys utilize the alerts function within Arkham Intelligence. I know as a trader when it comes to technical analysis, if I have certain price points I'm watching and I don't have alerts set, I'm probably going to miss that opportunity by the time it matters. So it's important to make sure that you actually set various different types of alerts. And what's great is that while you can create custom alerts, that will allow you to track transfers from particular wallets, along with that as well, receiving from addresses, sending to particular dollar amounts, or particular tokens that you're looking to track, or on particular chains. It's important to understand that there are a lot of really cool, powerful alerts that Arkham already has built in here. You can track large DeFi transactions, so large swaps or withdrawals from protocols like Uniswap or Aave. And along with that as well, you can track the activity of major VC funds. I think this is incredibly important to spot potential distribution on early stage altcoin plays, or if they're continuing to add to positions on spot markets, that can be further conviction of a larger move to the upside. And last but not least as well, one thing that you guys can also utilize in your arsenal on the Arkham platform is the chat room function on the home page, where you can chat with other users on the platform. So if you guys are interested, you can tap into some of these tools to further boost your experience within Arkham when you're doing your on-chain analysis. If you're interested to get started today, not only consider checking out the link down below in the description to sign up for an Arkham account, but you can also follow them on Twitter. They are constantly posting a ton of great information about how people can utilize Arkham in order to bolster their trading strategies, as well as gain valuable insights for on-chain analytics. But we're going to continue to cover this topic as time progresses, and I hope you guys will consider utilizing it in your strategy when it comes to approaching the tons of ways you can engage in the crypto market. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. If you happen to enjoy this video, consider dropping a like. It's a great way to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone.